Howdy doody, people. Hardy buddy here for another wacky weekend my railroad again chat. Hopefully everyone is fine and had an enjoyable week. Um, I know mine's been an interesting one. Um, Hope everyone can hear me okay. Yeah, Chris. Yeah, I'm going to talk about that. I am going to work on an event for everyone here in Australia in the coming weeks. So, g'day, Gary. How are you, buddy? Hope you're doing fine up there. Hopefully, you guys didn't get smashed as much with the rain as what we did down here and up in Sydney. Um, yeah, I want to be going up there neither. And g'day, John. How are you? Anthony, nice to see you here too. Yeah, yeah, that rain was bad. I don't know if you watched the Bathurst yesterday. The shootout for the pole position got cancelled up at Bathurst last night or yesterday because if anyone ever watched the Bathurst 1000 that we have, it's a big racing event here in Australia. The road, it's all hill. It's not like your American NASCAR racing. It's proper track that's going up and down hills and mountains. Well, the water coming down the road was actually raging torrent. So it was, yeah, they end up cancelling it. It's the first time in its racing history they'd actually had to cancel a race or the shootout anyway. Um, I got hit a fair bit. I had about 6 inches down here. Um, I'm still here. I haven't sunk yet. I haven't floated away. Thank God we got good drainage system. Anyway, yeah, got 11 people in here. Hit that little like button, people, and keep the algorithm going. And hopefully we get some new people. Yes, Curly, you are blue, and as I said, I'm adding the regular viewers through our streams and everything else. Um, what do you call it? To be moderators to keep all those other, you know, troublemakers in check. So yeah, we'll get on with the show, and something secret. G'day, Digger. How are you, buddy? Nice to see you up at 1 a.m. Yeah, that must have been some secret conversation because we can't hear a word that was going on, and he was just incriminating himself, talking to his girlfriend there. Still can't hear you. It's going to be very, very interesting. Nah, still can't. Hang on. Nah, try again. No, you. Oh, it's going to reset. Okay. All right, he'll be back. Yeah. Hopefully you're doing all right, Dave. Hopefully everyone enjoyed the live stream last. Hey, Regine, how are you, Jean? Hopefully everybody enjoyed the stream that I had last week. It's not working. Did you plug it in? Is it plugged in? It is plugged in. Is it turned on? his strong silent talk. Well, C's got his microphone muted, so he's having technical difficulties. I'm glad, no, still can't hear. I'm glad I'm not the only one that's been having. Oh, that's good, John. Wouldn't like to do another live stream. I'd like to go to another museum. I messed up with my days with Ray Babel's getaway. I thought there was a meet and greet. His meet and greet this weekend, but it's not. It's next weekend. That's the best picture I've seen of Anthony in a long time. He's done something. I think it's probably Ken's gone in there and pulled the plug out because he reckons his Opa is talking too much. Who knows? Well, I haven't really done that much in the training room this last week. I have done some painting of one of the alcoves. I'll show you guys in a minute. It's not finished yet. I'm waiting for the paint booth to dry out because I'll paint outside. And it's been raining, and yeah, we had a lot of rain last night. Now,
is this working?
I can hear you, but we can't. Oh, now we can.
Well, I turned the camera off. It keeps changing my mic back to a camera mic instead of my main mic. I don't know why StreamYard is doing it today, or Streamlab, whichever wacky one we have. But yeah.
Oh, StreamYard. Yeah, well, it's glad to see that I'm not the only person that's having. Hi, Serena Jr. How are you, Lewis? Nice to see you here in the group. I'll add you to the Wacky group, so you're now officially a member of the Wacky Weekend group. I think that sounds pretty good. Wacky Weekend. Right, now what was I going to say?
I have no idea. What were you going to say?
I can't remember. Don't get to me. Right.
No, I mean I can tell you what she was telling us, but it might not be PG-13.
Well, we are MA.
We'll have to save it for sometime when the mic is working when I start.
Yeah. It's all right. That secret conversation is between you and her.
Yeah, I just will never come near you when you have a Dremel in your hand. That's all I'm saying.
Actually, come and talk about it. Where is the Dremel? Oh, the rabbit's got it. She's fixing up drain holes so we've got water that can actually run out in case he comes into the house. Oh man, I'll tell you what, it's concerning with the amount of rain that we're getting, and it's actually getting quite concerning with the people out west from here because it is our harvest time. G'day, Thomas. How are you, buddy? And my thoughts are with a lot of those farmers out there because we were going to have a huge bumper harvest season for wheat and grain and all the other commodities. And I really hope they don't get washed out and flooded out like we got washed out in, I think it was 2010, 2011, where it had a big rains back there and a lot of crops got damage there, but I mean, we really need it. The world really needs our crop at the moment because of what's been going up north to basically stock up the grain supplies around the world. Yeah, I went down. Yeah, I do look civilized, don't I? Yeah, I went over last Saturday. I went over to see a lady friend of mine, and she strapped me to the chair, and this is what she'd done.
Ooh.
She trimmed my beard and took the hair off the top and then gave me a good slapping and kicked me out the door. That's all I got, by the way, nothing else. Right, obviously, everyone enjoyed the live stream last weekend. Thank you very much for your help, Anthony, and Rick's just help if he's in the background there somewhere. I am being in touch with the. I'm staying in touch with Bernie, the organizer. He is talking about doing another one in 2 years. But what? G'day, Jeff. How are you, buddy? I don't know where
Jeff and the plumber and Thomas. Anybody else that came in?
Okay. This is the plan. I'm going to work something out in the next coming weeks. I just haven't been able to get out with doctor's appointments and everything else. But what I want to do is, since the majority of your viewers are from the US in here, except for John, we can work something out with you. I would like to organise a October long weekend tour here in Australia for the overseas viewers, and it'd be a group booking thing. Our October weekend is the first weekend of October, and there is so much to do rail-wise. There's going to be, I think Bernie was saying he's going to try to organise another event like he did this last weekend with the Streamliners. We'll have the big Sydney Model Railway show in Sydney. It also has second-hand stores, brand new stores, and everything else. And then there's train rides and everything else in Sydney itself for that 3-day period. We're riding on vintage trains, buses, etc. And on top of that, I'd actually like to do a tour of some of the museums, some of the popular sites around Sydney. And to make it work, I believe I'm going to need to get about 30 people who are interested in coming. It's going to be a group package with all your accommodation, your transportation, and everything else included in that package. So if anyone's interested, I will make a clip on it once I get more details with it. If you guys are interested in it, I'll start working on it. I haven't worked on the tour for, nearly 20 odd years or so. And I have done a few others on the side, but it's going to be I think it's going to be a good way of coming out as a group. And I know things get expensive, but having a chance up to 2 years to save up to come out. Yeah, Gary, 30 people. Well, I'm looking at a busload. Of people. And it will be a group thing. You get picked up at the airport up in Sydney, you get brought down here to the God's country, as you know, creepy God's country is down here in Wollongong. Get away from the Sydney. There is a couple of good motels down here. Get a motel package price. Wollongong's a nice city. So that's the plan. I'm going to start working it out and try to make an estimate of the price you bring yourself and your family members over. So that's what I would like to do. Something different. I don't think it's been done to that scale in Australia for model railroaders and rail enthusiasts. Timonia. Yeah, is anyone going to Timonia? That's going to be on next weekend. I was going to go to Thilming Rail Museum next weekend, but I think I'm going to postpone it because I haven't spoken to the Ray yet. I don't know what he's up to for that weekend. There's not much room on my floor, creepy. I'm going to have to... Actually, you know what? As long as we don't have any rain, are you going to be able to make it out here, Rick? You'll be able to make it out here. You've got a couple of years to save up. It's not going to be that expensive. But actually, creepy, you give me an idea. I've got the football field across the road. As long as we don't have the rain that we had now, I suppose the council will let me do a mini city in the football field across the road, just pitch up all the tents and put some beds and that in there. That
Yeah.
might actually work. Yeah. I think that might work. That saves on accommodation.
You can
Yeah.
control just about everything in planning a trip, right? But you cannot control the weather, and you better have a backup plan if the weather would be a factor.
Look, yeah, well, yeah, that is the big thing. I mean, there's always got to have a plan B for these things. And I learned that when I used to do coach tours out west. And I remember one of the tours I did in the Outback. Of course, I spent a lot of time in the Outback, and this is way past Ayers Rock, the big rocket, Uluru. And I used to do those, what we call safari tours, where we had 40 odd people in the coach. About 70% of them were overseas guests that actually had to make flights. And we were basically camping out in the wilderness. We were setting up tents every night or two, a couple of nights. We'd make it final location. And the group that I was with, yeah, those onions are good. The blooming onions, they're good. The thing that happened, because of the location where I stayed this one particular time, we had to cross a lot of rivers to get in there. Now you can imagine, I'm driving a big Mercedes-Benz, it's a reasonably new coach it was, tour bus with a trailer on the back, and it's like I'm seeing these big black clouds that are black as our boots, and I'm like saying to the hostess, look, we better throw everything out and get out of here because that rain's going to hit. We're not going to get out. Yeah, it did hit, and I managed to get through one stream and whatnot. And I thought, well, this is not going to be good. We better go back to where we were because it was high ground, and it's like we'll be safe back in the high ground. And we were stuck there for about 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks. They actually sent us. They brought us out for food because we did run out of food. And g'day, Martine. And some of the tourists that were there with me, they had a choice either to be flown out into Alice Springs, or do they want to stay and come back out with us once things dried out and when the coach came out. And I was actually quite surprised. They all wanted to stay there for the true outback experience, and they stayed there for 3 weeks and came back. And I tell you what, those tourists ended up coming back the following year to do another tour with me, and they particularly requested me and the hostess that I was with. So I must have done something well. And we can do something out. There is a local couple of companies nearby, but there is 2 companies I want to approach that got coaches where I can actually dry hire the coach, and it'll be about 1.5 weeks, 2 weeks, depending on how we arrange things up. Where basically I'll be driving everybody around in the coach. We all get together in a group. It'll be like a little tour. We'll do some sites in Sydney and surroundings, and yeah, I think it's going to work out pretty good. And I think it'll be enjoyable. I have not had any bad reviews in the past of what I used to do. So, yeah, we'll see how it goes. It all depends on pricing because I know everyone's doing it up around the world at the moment financially, and I want to make it affordable. What do you think, Anthony?
I mean, it's a great idea and it would be wonderful to happen. But like just in our case, October is an impossible month for us to travel. There is no way Joyce could get that time off of work to travel overseas, so I'd have to go on my own, which, you know, I can do. I'm just not thrilled traveling alone. But yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
No tracks found. But boom.
Yeah, well, June, the only thing is all they've got to do is follow the stream, and that will lead to where the 30 model railroaders are. Yeah, don't jinx us before it happens. Well, it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be October. I mean, October is the time that we have all those big events. I mean, we'd probably be able to work out something around about June, July. I mean, there are other events going on in June, right? So we can work something out. It doesn't have to be that. I know there's a lot of events during our winter time. Only problem is that you guys in the US will miss out on winter. I mean, I'll miss out on summer.
Yes, Dwight. I did say my wife works. You thought Joyce didn't work?
Yeah. So we can still work something out. We can still work something out for June. There is another big event that we have with them, especially one of the clubs. I think it's Epping Motor Railway Club in Sydney. They do a big show in Sydney, and for those who like to spend money on trains, they do have a second-hand market stall. And I tell you what, the models that go to that show are like women going to a shoe and clothing sale. You know, they're lining up at the crack of dawn to be first into the market stall, you know. As soon as the door opens, there's a stampede. So I'll work something out with the planning, with the pricing and whatnot, so to make it fair and easy for everybody else. Oh, cool, Randall. Yeah, I've been working on one here too. I'll show it in a moment. That's what I was going to say. I really apologise to people that like watching my Fun Day Friday, particularly Australian viewers. It was very late being poured out. I was having issues with my main computer. Hang on a minute, guys.
So, how is everybody out there? What's happening on your side of the world? Oh, he's back.
I'm back. Sorry about that. Okay. Sorry about the disturbance. Okay. I've been having issues with the computer since Friday. I did also have problems with the internet, and I found out what the problem is.
Being underwater.
They're working on the lines out here, preparing for the new optical fibre, new fancy dangle, high-speed broadband. And as they've been working messing around with the cables, of course, we've got the old copper cabling, and it has been prone to moisture, and of course, you know how it goes. It all gets weak and whatnot. About 2-3 months ago, they worked at my pit at the front, and when they played around there, they damaged a wire where they didn't get full connection, and they didn't report it, and finally we got that fixed. Not very impressed. It's taken 3 months to sort that out. But then I got computer issues where I couldn't upload the video. Then there was one of the files were corrupted. It took me nearly all night just to try to sort out what the problem is. So The main computer is acting up. I've got to try to sort it this week. G'day, Rick's Railroad. How are you?
Hey, Rick. And hello, Lisa, in the background, if she is.
Yeah. So, we're, I'll try to get, I'm going to have to start learning how to do the filming and the film editing off my laptop computer as a backup. So I can get that out. I want to do the regular Fun Day Friday videos. G'day, Leo. How are you, buddy?
Hey, Ian.
I want to do that as a regular thing. Of course, a lot of people are enjoying it, and it's getting very popular at the moment. So, I'm going to keep that up. So anyway, I'm going to put an invite for those who want to come up and hang out with us. And chat anything, even if it is a little bit BS, as long as you don't talk about politics.
Because, last week at this time, Joyce and I were at the Berea toy train show, the Greater Berea train show. God, I keep wanting to say toy because for years I did that. But we had gone to the show and I showed last week the stuff I bought. The next morning before we went home, Joyce and I went out to breakfast with Dave from Crooked River here, and Richard and his wife Lisa from Rick's Railroad. We all met and went out to breakfast on Sunday morning, and then they went to the show, and Joyce and I drove home. So it was a great time. Dave is as likable in real life as he is on his live streams and his videos, because he on video, I haven't seen it live, but he's got an amazing layout, and he does museum quality work on the sections he works on. He's talked about losing his mojo a bit. And Rick, I had never seen. So Joyce and I were walking to the restaurant, and Joyce says, there's some guy looking at us. It's probably Rick. And he walks up and goes, I forget exactly how it was, but like, Anthony and Joyce, and we're like, yeah, okay, I'm Rick from Rick's Railroad. So it was it was great. We had a good time of me talking and them listening, but it was nice.
G'day, buddy. How are you?
There you go, mate. There you go. That better?
And I'll show you what's better. I'll show you what's better. Just joking. Yeah.
What's going on?
Not much.
But apparently, you got the memo as well that we had to haircut and trim the beards down for this week's show. You got that memo from corporate, I see. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I got strapped to the barber's chair. I don't know about him, but I know I got strapped to it, and I'll tell you what.
No, I had to report. I had to report to makeup and get trimmed and the beard cut way back too.
Next thing you tell me, I've got to get a haircut.
Well, Richard's a junior member, so he doesn't have to have the beard yet. He's allowed to have his hair, and he doesn't have to have a beard. When you're a senior member, you have to be bald, bearded, and beautiful.
Yeah, righto.
Yeah, and it's still got a few years to catch up. It's got a few years to catch up. Was it wet last night at your place, Richard?
Oh, mate, it was pissing down. Yeah, I was supposed to be at the light railway driving trains today, but they canned it because it was too wet.
Oh, really? Well,
yeah.
I'm just looking at my side window and looking down to deep south. Hey, Possum Boo, how are you? And I tell you what, it's not grey. It's almost like that greeny grey, I'm not so worried here, but if I was in the US, it would have been, well, Yeah, that's sort of like clouds that brings tornadoes out. So yeah, um, I think we're far from being out of it yet, and it's all right. It can stay down Shell Harbour, it can stay down south. But it could at least waited for a little bit longer. I mean, it's so cold. I mean, it must have snowed up out somewhere last night. Because with that wind that we're getting off the mountain, we're getting that icy cold, after it snowed and you get that fresh cold breeze coming in. That's what we're getting down here. Yeah. Bernie, I'm actually quite impressed with Bernie, with what he done for us last weekend, firing up that old CL engine that's been restored. He did do that for us. He did do that for us with the people on the show. Would have been nice to see some more people, but I mean, gradually everyone did get to see it. I'm just disappointed. I'm just upset that we didn't see. They couldn't get the B classes out there. The B classes are the double-ended ones. Let me get the one that I got here.
I spent most of my time looking at passenger carriages when I was up there.
Yeah, you pervert. No, they weren't in there. The doors weren't in there. They were somewhere else. Make it bigger. That's the B class. And it comes from... That's the B class. It was a Victorian one. I was so hoping one of these was going to be up there, but I believe they still have 3 or 4 of them in service. 3 are in standard gauge and 1's in broad gauge. The one in broad gauge, well, she can come up here, but they've got to change the bogies under it. But yeah, I was hoping that at least we'd get one of those B classes out, but they didn't. I believe by talking to some people, it was actually G'day, Randall. How are you? They're working on the wheat field because it's harvest time at the moment. So majority of those engines that we had there, except for the ones that were in the shed, the green and yellow one. I'm just trying to think. About 3 of those engines that were on display with the streamliners don't work anymore. The first Alco in the brown colours, the brown ones don't do regular work. But all the other ones that do regular work on the wheat harvest and carting freight, so they earn their keep. But the B class, I believe it is, they couldn't get it out because of the location where they were and the risk of tracks not being safe for it to get to where they are because of the rain.
Right.
Well, Martin, yeah, I suppose you can say that, but did they make a locomotive with 3 cabs?
How many cabs? 3.
3.
Okay.
Actually, I think New South Wales did. I think New South Wales did make 3 cabs. Or was it 2? I I know they had one that was the 47 class and a 49 class cab on it.
I think they made that for a track work vehicle or something.
Yeah. I know, Thomas. For the smarter question, I am going to go looking for it. I think that because it was an old shape one. I think it did have three cabs. Yeah.
Well, the
is.
three cabs are like a cab on this end, cab on this end, and some sort of work thing in the middle.
Yeah. Well, that's three cabs. The whole idea with the two cabs in here, we kind of did adopt the British principle, but when they brought dieselisation, they realised they were able to alleviate the turntables at a lot of branch line locations. Denmark had 4 cabs. There you go, Thomas. Denmark. There you go. So what they end up doing is, instead of spinning an engine around, particularly with the passenger service, instead of finding some way to turn the engine around, you had the cabs on both ends. So it was actually quite economical and feasible to have double-ended cabs, and on top of that, also quick turnaround. And they were able to remove the turntables and have more real estate for a loco depot.
I don't think they ever officially existed. I know there was one locomotive that had 2 cabs and an Uber, but an Uber does not count as a cab.
Okay.
There's a piece of track maintenance equipment that has a cab on each end, or a cab car, I should say, on each end. It has well cars, and it's connected to what they look like well cars, but that's not what they are. I think they haul ties. Haul away ties. So
that's those new ones that they got there in the US now.
Yeah, I think they're Loram. That's who they belong to. It's either Loram or Herzog. I can't remember which.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only time I know of a locomotive with 3 cabs was the drunk cab driver locomotive driver who derailed in New York City.
Yeah.
That sounds messy, Anthony.
Yeah, it does. It does. And I wonder if that was the ex Connex train driver from down Melbourne that got fired from forgetting to put the park brake on the train and ran away down the line. He derailed. Yeah, that created a bit of a mess.
Only in Mexico.
Only in Mexico. That's why we call Melbourne, Mexico.
I have seen Gray Still Plays videos where he puts cars on the tracks and the train comes along and hits them. I think it's that My Summer Cars series they did several years back. But
yeah, that channel's hilarious.
That was funny.
Yeah.
We're just killing time while somebody actually Googles to see if there's a locomotive with 3 cabs. But until then, Thomas's questions, as usual, will remain belittled, unanswered, or rejected.
For at least a week. We'll get an answer to you by the end of the week. There, Thomas.
This just in, Walter Cronkite here at CBS with breaking news. With breaking news.
There's got to be one somewhere. If not, we will have to make one up.
The search for the 3-cab locomotive continues. Started by an insane man in Minnesota, the search has stretched across the globe to Australia. Rumors of the cab existence rank up there with sightings of Sasquatch and UFOs. All we have are blurry images and drunk rednecks claiming to have seen it.
Hey, get the rednecks out of it, okay?
Hey, if the shoe fits, Cinderella.
Hey, have you ever seen a UFO?
I have seen a UFO.
Yeah. Well, three cab locos exist somewhere.
In some universe, some planet. Zorik, why did we make locomotive with 3 cabs? To screw the Earthlings when we take over.
Yeah. And we know who we can confuse with 3 cabs. Isn't that right, Richard and Sheen?
Yeah, I actually Googled it. Nothing's come up.
Nothing's come up. So now we're going to have to make an engine with 3 cabs just to make Thomas happy.
You know, if it's ever a locomotive with 3 cabs, we in Germany would have invented it and perfected it.
Yeah, and then it got blown up. Yeah, with the tank.
Probably.
Yeah, with the tank.
Yeah.
No, it would have been hit by a tank.
Yeah. Yeah, Shane, they did. The US did actually have locomotives with no cabs. I know BN had them, UP had them. I don't know if Southern Pacific had them. There were a few railroads. Santa Fe had them. And that's not even... Well, they did have B units for the F7 units, yes, but they did have... they did end up... Oh, here we go. It's messing up again. Let me just do this. And that's a brilliant cup there, Richard.
That is. That's a cool one.
Show it to the world. No. Golden 2022. So the next one, MD 100 years. Yep. The next one in Goulburn is going to be in 6 years' time. So if anyone can't make it for what I'm organising for in 2 years' time, yes, Anthony.
No, just stepping away a minute.
All right. He's been summoned by Her Majesty. Actually, we did end up having a cabless. I think it was a -8. Yeah, it was a cabless -8. BHP had, I think, 3 or 4 of them in the US, and they were made just before the AC6000s came out.
Actually,
they had a couple of units there. Yeah,
I think in South Australia, back in the Australian National days, I think they cut down a few 600 classes and made them cabless as well.
I don't know.
I think I've seen a photo somewhere, but I'm pretty sure, yeah.
I know they modified the 7 to 81 classes. I know they modified some of them where they only had 1 cab or 1 end. And
yeah, they both that's the AL class they did that.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure, yeah, they modified a 600 as well with no cab.
Yeah. But there is photos of the BHP one floating around, which I would love to make to go with my BHP stuff.
Hey, wait a minute. Hey, y'all. My name's Rufus, and you was all talking about a locomotive with 3 cabs. Me and Barbara Jean, last summer, we were out in the double wide on vacation. And one of them some bitches came right out of the woods. Ain't that right, Baba G? Damn straight. We saw one of those 3 cabs, so don't you go tell me they ain't real. And I tell you, it was being driven by one of them, whatchamacallit, Sasquatchies? Yeah, it was. Wasn't that Barbara Jean?
What do you been smoking up there?
Smoking? Shit, no.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Anyhow, I got a NASCAR race to get back to. Now, don't let me hear no more of this anti-3 cab bullshit. You understand me?
yeah.
Good go.
NASCAR. Forget NASCAR. Come and try out Bathurst. That will sort you guys out. Oh, redneck. Makes a good redneck. There you go, guys.
Oh, you get some rednecks on top of the hill there, mate.
Oh, wait till he meets a bogan.
Yeah, Bogue. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Wait till he meets the bogan. They got they walk all over the rednecks.
Are you kidding? That's several relatives of mine on my mom's side of the family.
Oh, your mom's side? You sure it's not your father's side of the family?
No, that's my mom's side. My mom's family's from Tennessee.
Oh, okay. There's nothing wrong with the South.
As long
You
as
forgot your banjo, Anthony. We don't
you got
want
a pretty mouth, mister.
Leo, we don't want to go there. Those are the roots or something. Ohio, yes, Thomas.
Oh, dear.
Yeah. I wonder
Chupacabra. I should have thrown that one in there too.
I wonder how the
Chupacabra.
I wonder how the Bathurst race is going to go today. It'd be interesting up there. Richard, you hear the shootout got cancelled yesterday?
Yeah.
The river.
Oh, yeah. Well, this is the last year Holden's going to be in it too, eh?
Oh shit, it is too. Yeah, it's the last time we're going to have our Commodores.
Yeah, shit cars.
It's not going to be the same again. It's not going to be the same race again as what it was with the Fords and the Holdens, or the Falcons and the Commodores, the Australian-built cars for the American viewers. But then again, in some ways, it's going back to the way it used to be. Bathurst car racing. Bathurst car racing used to be. No, I'm just listening to a big helicopter going out outside. Something's going on up north.
Yes, Randall?
I was going to start when they had the VH supercars on a speed channel back when there was a speed channel. And
Sorry, Randall, you broke up.
I was just saying, these supercars they used to show on the speed channel back when there was a speed channel. And those cats would rough each other up pretty good. Back then.
Yeah. There's been a couple of them that got totally cleaned out. Especially when they get stuck in a kitty litter and the other one piles up next to it. It's going back. I believe it's going to be going back to what it used to be, where they had every different makes and models of cars, and it was known as a Bathurst 1000, but it was pretty much the 1000 was 1,000 kilometers, and which was back then when it started is equivalent to going between Sydney and Melbourne, and it was an endurance race. And when it kicked off, the cars that were able to race were the ones that you could buy off the shelf. So your Nissans, or back then it was Datsuns, and your Toyotas, your Mazdas, and all your sports car models of the manufacturers. But it had to be something that you're able to go in and buy off the showroom floor. Of course, you had to do all your safety features and whatnot. But it was good for the manufacturers because this track, if anyone's ever seen the Bathurst race, it goes up and down the mountain. And it is a public road too, mind you. And a lot of people were glued. Okay, you still had your Australian make of the Falcon and the Holden, like your Ford and your General Motors.
So they're racing on a public road.
Yeah, it gets closed off.
I did that in my teens and 20s, and the cops didn't like it. That's unfair.
Yeah, but this actual roads actually get closed off and turned into the part of the racing track.
Well, that makes it easy.
The cops and the police know about it, okay? They do get the permit to close it off. I know it takes the fun out of it, but and yeah, there was always a rivalry between the Falcon fans and the Holden fans. There's always been that rivalry, either Ford or Holden. Which turned out to be GM, but yeah, since they've taken the Australian car manufacturing away, it's killed it. I think Ford, the Falcon and the yes, Richard.
So my honest opinion of Holden is they were probably good when they first started out, but the last few years they've just been making shit cars. I'll be honest with you, the Holden Commodores, every Holden Commodore I've ever owned has either been shit or cost me too much to fix.
I would say the last two models that they made were crap. The last model that I got, and I've got to laugh because when you look at the body, it's crossed between a Mercedes and a Buick.
Yeah, but like an average person that buys a car, right? You want something that's going to be reliable and whatever. You buy a Holden Commodore, you know, down the road it's just going to break down and shit itself, and you're just like, well, what's the point?
Well, the problem was they brought a lot of technology over from Europe. And of course, we know in Europe it snows and freezes up. In Australia here, it doesn't freeze up, it doesn't snow over, it cooks down here. We got the opposite down in here. You have a look at all these locomotives that they brought out and tried out, especially in the early days. There was a lot of ones that just couldn't handle the conditions because it gets so hot. But now you've got companies like Kenworth, like in the truck manufacturer, companies like Kenworth and Western Star and whatnot that actually bring their trucks out here and can test them out, particularly the motors.
But like I said, Holden was an Australian manufacturer. You know, you think that after 50 or so years of being in Australia, you think that, you know.
They relied too much on the Opel market. They brought a lot of the Opel components over from Europe. Before they shut down the plant down there at Melbourne, near the heart of Melbourne, which is now part of the Docklands area, I remember seeing the whole heap of Opel model cars that came over from Europe to do an endurance test in Australia. I mean, they could do an endurance test during the middle of winter. You got to do it during the summer and take it out to the bush.
Okay, I'll give you an example of a Holden Commodore. I had one for about a year, and everything just started breaking down on it. And I thought, all right, I'll persevere. I'll spend the money on it, keep it going. And then one particular night I was coming home. There's like a plastic pipe on the radiator, right? That was the weakest part of the car. And where is it? Underneath the car. I hit a twig coming home, and it was pissing down with rain. My temperature gauge didn't even move. and I went to go up a hill, and the whole thing, the car just died. I cooked the motor, and I didn't even realise it. There was no warning on the dash or anything. So
the best model they made, the best model,
that's a shit design of a car.
the best model car that they had that Holden made was the VL Commodore. But
Yeah,
they
the VL.
used it up. But the problem is, the only thing that made it good was the engine.
No, Nissan motor.
It was a Nissan motor. It was an R31 engine. Yeah, he's in the outback. He's in the dirty club. That looks like the pub out of bloody Dunny Doo on the corner. The Itchy Crotch Club. Well, we know where he is been, yeah.
God.
I'm out in Big Gulch, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but the Nissan engine, the R31 engine, it was a straight six. They were a good motor. I had one in my Nissan Skyline, the R31, and I ended up having a pinhole. But the system that the Nissan had in it saved the motor. It just totally shut itself down. And that's without the fancy electronics. And also, it saved my engine. And that was one feature they did not put with Holden.
No. But actually, yeah, the VL is probably the better Commodore of them all, I reckon.
Yeah, only because they had problems with the engine plant in again down at Melbourne where they'd done the engines, and Nissan used to be right next door, so that where they'd done all the castings for the engines and whatnot. So they basically just split the engines through the fence.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, it didn't have very far to. Yeah. So anyway, my yes, I don't know if Thomas is still here. You're still here, Thomas. I did manage to paint the shell anyway. It's not finished yet. Of the Alcone that I'm painting up. I've got the orange on it. The white is behind the radiator there. I still got to do the black roof lining on it. But I'm going to wait until the weather clears up and I'll get that done. Here he is.
What colour are you painting that, Odie?
The old storage covers.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to have the black over the top. I might have taken the tape off this one, but I've done the running board for it.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to pull this up. It didn't come out as glossy as what I thought it would. Well, that doesn't matter because I'm going to. I might as well take the tape off while I'm here on air. Hey, off the rails. About bloody time you wake up. Watch the Ford versus Ferrari. That is a good movie, that.
Jean Ricard, you're showing our age. Jean Ricard's mentioning Little Abner. You have to be of an age to know Little Abner anymore. I don't even know if the Aussie friends know Little Abner.
I don't.
Little Abner was a cartoon strip that ran from the 30s into the 70s. That was basically an Appalachian comedy bit. Hey, Randall, that looks nice.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's just like what Artie's got right there. So just different color.
Looks like it's got a small rifled barrel at that end.
Yeah.
It's a locomotive and a gun.
You get two for the price of one on that one.
This thing is off the walls. I've talked to some of the people on chat. This thing's like a Hot Wheels. Some Hot Wheels was made. It's the interstate colors are red and yellow, but this looks like a glorified Hot Wheels vehicle. I mean, it's got dual stacks. It's got the front STP-40 and long hood. It's got the cab of a BQ-23-7, and I mean, I've never seen anything like it.
You're breaking up really bad there, Randall. You're really
Yeah,
breaking
we
up,
keep
man.
getting the R2D2 voice out of you, Randall.
I was just saying that
You may have to type it.
Yeah, I think you're gonna have to, Randall. Well, you really, we only get probably about now at the moment 1 in 4 words. No, it's not working.
Yeah, Randall, don't take this the wrong way, but right now you sound like a drunken R2D2 going off on a bar stool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hang on, let me put it in the chat.
I'm just waiting for C-3PO to come in and say, "You watch your language."
Yeah. Tell you, man. Yeah, I love you the bits, Randall, but yeah. I really feel sorry for you that you got your bad bandwidth there with your internet. I really do, because you do come up with a lot of good information there too. Nothing is worse than being in an area with all this modern technology and everything else, and when you look at it within Randall's spot, and he can't chat properly without being sound like interfered with by Martians, as we just spoke about UFOs before. No, it's all right, Randall. We understand. I mean, we can put up with you, even though some can't.
I can move outside and it might get better, but
Yeah, you're already much better right there.
Yeah, don't move your head.
So.
Don't move your head. Yeah.
Well, I'll try to explain this before it goes away, but I found this engine on eBay that it's just so weird looking. It's an Iowa Interstate locomotive, but it has the long hood and frame of an SDP-40, the cab of a BQ-23-7, and it's got dual exhaust on it. I've just never seen anything like it. It looks like a Hot Wheels vehicle. So,
well, there has been some strange looking engines around the world. I mean, you had some strange ones in the US, you had some strange ones here in Australia. And there are times where they just seem to cannibalize one engine to make another. I don't really think they did so much of that here.
But this is an HO model that somebody built. I don't know if it's a real engine or not. If it is, it's one of the wildest engines I've ever seen in my entire life. But so,
Lehigh, that is very, very true. That is very, very true. And there'd be so many people that wouldn't know what to do if they lose the internet. Okay, we've got social media and everything else like that. They'll be lost.
I've used clothes hangers, Lehigh.
Yeah. At least we know how to use a clothes hanger. But when I started playing with electronics, I worked out how signals are worked. I used to get a bit of phone wire and a bit of a metal rod. And what I did was I used to curl the wire on the metal rod, and if I didn't get my signal right, I used to stretch or contract the wire, and it worked on the old The old way they used to use on the radios, where they used to go up and down. I can't think of the thing. You change the way the frequency worked with the bandwidth and air collective. I can't think of the name of it at the moment. Oh, yeah, that's the one off the rails. Yep, very true. Approximately five haircuts left between you.
Who was that?
Oh, Liam, what the UK living is saying there. Approximately 5 haircuts left between you. Yeah, good work. Thanks, UK living. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, I gotta go, guys. But yeah, I'll.
right.
What the missus wants you?
No,
Okay.
I got some stuff I gotta do, guys. So I'll chat to you
Oh, you
next week.
poor bugger. All right, Richard. I'll talk to you during the week. We've got to come see you this week. Okay. So.
Right. No worries.
All right. Take care of yourself.
Have a good week, guys.
Yeah, you too.
Yep.
Bye bye.
Have a good one.
See ya.
Okay. Well, he's only really got today off. He's got to travel to the Western Sydney every day for work, and he's only got Saturday, Sunday to play with normally. So that's the bottom frame of the of that little switching engine. Just got to touch it up a little bit, but touch up the top end, do the black. Well, that's going to come up pretty good, I think. I think she's going to look. I've already done a bigger Alco. It's similar to the colour scheme that we've got or had with some of the trains here. So it's going to look good once I get the black on top. It's going to be, that's basically my reincarnating an old colour scheme from my Fisher's Fleet Company. And if anyone's watched Split Rock's channel, you see how he's got all his trains painted up in his own colours. I'm intending to go down the same path. What livery? Okay, let me see if I got a train here with the
We'll see if this works.
with the livery I'm going for. I know I did have it on the other computer. It's the old Australian Iron Steel yeah, there it is. Okay. Let me just bear with me. I'm going to see if I can do this. This is basically the colour scheme I'm going with. Okay, I don't have the white buffers on it on this model, but that's pretty much the way I'm heading towards this colour scheme here.
Looks like a WP engine.
They're actually Australian-made engines with British Electric motors in them. And that was the big one. This one still survives. D34 still survives. She's preserved up over the Blue Mountains. This one here, D38, she still works in the steel plant. And D2, I think, is, I'm not sure whether she's been cut up or whether she's in a museum. But that's the colour scheme I'm going for my freight trains.
Good looking paint scheme.
Yeah. The proper colour scheme is tangerine orange, but I couldn't be bothered taking time out to get the exact colours. So what I've decided to do is just going to be using the, to me, orange in the spray pack. Yes, it is very similar off the rails, but this one is actually what this used to be the actual colour scheme with the locomotives that ran in our local steelworks. And g'day, Jeff. I didn't see you slide in. Now, Pacific National had a contract to do the work with inside the mill, and part of their contract was to remove these engines from the fleet. But when they removed these engines from the fleet, they scrapped them when they got the PB classes and the new ones from the US. The only problem is they're having complications with those new engines from the US, and they said to themselves, oh crap, we need those old engines back, but they're already cut up and they're gone to Japan to get melted down for scrap and being turned into rollers for steel rollers and for slab steel and aluminium plate and whatnot. There is a guy at the club that's making some of those ones that I showed that last one, and I do want to get at least 2 or maybe 4 of them. They were a nice engine, Jeff, and they're basically engines of my childhood. Used to watch them every day going past, particularly when I used to go down the swimming pool. They had a unique sound. And the days before the safety got a little bit overboard, I was able to learn how to. Hey, g'day, mate. How are you? Yeah, you piqued your interest. Yeah, I got to learn how to drive on those trains, man. And it was all thanks to Dad and one of my friends, Kurt, he's old man too. My dad, or my stepdad, had an important role in the steelworks. They were on the brand horse crane, and his job in there was basically like a fly gang, A-team fly gang sort of thing. If one of those trains derailed, particularly the ones that carted the molten steel, the ladles, they had to get out there and put it back on the track as quick as they possibly can. They had 1 hour to basically get that ladle back on the track and going. Because once it starts going over the hour, every minute it gets critical because the melting steel inside those ladles slowly starts to solidify. And it won't pour out too good out of one of those torpedo cars, one of those ladles. So even when there was a strike and a dispute, his department, g'day Steve, how are you, buddy? Miss seeing you coming in. Oh yeah, they did. They did make a hell of a mess. 187, they did make a hell of a mess. But thankfully, with when they had a dispute in steelworks and striking, his department could not go on complete strike. They had to remain there mainly for the torpedo cars if they derailed, because they still had to move the trains, the torpedo cars the steel production had to go continually, because he could not shut down the furnaces. Well, I'll never forget, there was one time Dad actually left. They wanted him to stay. And I used to cart the granulated slag. The granulated slag that will be done in our mill is basically looks like white sand. And the way it's produced is when the slag comes out of the blast furnace, it gets water blasted. And then they stockpile it. Now, they use the slag, the granulated slag, for two things. They use it for cement. They crush it up and you can use it as a cement product. It goes like hard as steel. And the other one they use it for, the real clean white stuff, that granulated slag, they make glass. And I used to transport that from number 2 blast furnace, she's gone now, and up to the stockpile area, the big stockpile area for future transportation and grading. Now, one of these torpedo cars derailed. And we were going past it. Now, you can imagine Dad is in my passenger seat in the truck. When he saw the crew and he seen the gang, he was just trying to, in a small Kenworth cab, he was trying to hide himself because he didn't want to get spotted that he's in the truck. And he kept on commenting, they're doing it wrong, they're doing it wrong, they're doing it wrong, they can't do it like that. Because as they're trying to get the train on the track, you can imagine it's 200 tons, 300 tons. And he kept on dragging the tracks apart. Well, he couldn't hide for too long because one of his old bosses spotted him and goes, hey, give us a hand here, show these idiots how to put it on the track.
Need a better disguise, apparently.
I just need a bigger cab, the cab of the truck, because the cab of the truck probably about just a little bit wider than you see at the screen here. Right? It's small. You can only bop down so high, is so low inside the cab. The core tray is cutting sheets from bulk rolls of aluminium and stainless steel. Oh, okay, yeah, I know the place you're talking about there off the rails. Yeah, that was an interesting place. But it's amazing to see how they work with aluminium and do the extrusions and stuff like that. I mean, the big plant, our coal plant we had here in Sydney, there's another thing that's gone. Just the way the process of rolling, they get a big ingot of aluminium, and then they turn it down to a flat sheet that's like from a big giant block. They turn it into something that's thinner than paper. You know?
I'm glad you had an example of paper. I would have been confused otherwise.
Knowing you guys in Toledo, you guys get very confused. I mean, not everyone comes up with an idea of using a hang glider in pink. Hey, Mystic, how are you, buddy? And fluffy flippers and trying to fly away, hey, in a pink gown. Looks like a flying chicken.
I stay confused, Artie.
You're confused, Randall?
Oh, yeah.
That way.
I stay that way.
It's the state he lives in. You know,
yeah.
he's north of Missouri, south of Arkansas. It's the state of confusion.
I am not going there. I am not going to be touching that one.
And the capital is ball of confusion.
I am not going to be touching that one. Mainly because I've got very good close family friends. Well, not blood family, but I've got friends over there. That's like family in that area, and I do wish to visit them again. So I'm not. I'm on the fence on that one. So time out.
Yeah, I hear you like it on the fence. Oh, I'm sorry. No, it was the post you like it. No,
Are you trying to get me in deeper and deeper into trouble there, Anthony? Still.
you and the terms deeper and deeper should not be used in the same sentence anymore. Not since the restraining orders.
What, is there more? Yeah. Okay, just give me a sec. I'll be back in a minute. Hang on, guys. Just give me a sec. Just take control for a minute there, Anthony.
Oh, yeah, great. My background is apparently having issues. Coffee's kicking in. Be back in a few. Well, I heard coffee's good to the last drop.
Yep, that's right. You know I don't drink coffee.
Or last plop. Let's see if that fixed the problem. Okay. So anyhow, yeah, Artie was telling a good story there. Somebody mentioned, was it... somebody mentioned my changing backgrounds. Well, you know, somebody said change of scenery is good for you. So I've changed my scenery. This is my little summer home.
The one that got repossessed?
What's that?
The one that King Charles has repossessed from you?
No. This is our little place in Cardiff.
Oh, right, okay.
Hey, John Mystic, how are you?
Yes, 187. I did hear about it, and they were working on a process like that here. And they are working on another system in the old electric furnace here in Port Kembla Steelworks. And whatever they are doing in there, they're keeping it underneath their hat at this point in time. But the process that they are using is going to revolutionize the way steel is made, produced, and recycled. Bottle of liquid gravity. I'm not even going to ask what that is, Dwight.
They're actually using machines down around Sedgwick, Arkansas, that grinds up the old pavement on the highways and I guess melts it down and reuses it.
We lost him there. They're all grinding down the old asphalt. Well, the old asphalt can be recycled. We've been using that for many years over here. We've been using it for at least the last 10, 15 years. But with me working on the hot mix for the last 6 years now, what they do is they do crush it all up again. Well, they screen it, and depending on the grade and whatnot, the bitumen they use, that does get put in, and it does get blended in with new material. You still need some new material to be mixed in with it to make it bond. Now they do have a big rotating vat where everything gets heated into, dries out all the sand, the gravel. Then you have your liquid asphalt mixed in with it, as well as the recycled bitumen. Now, at 200 degrees Fahrenheit, 200 degrees Celsius, that's roughly about
424.
Yeah, degrees Fahrenheit is a temperature that it's actually being cooked at. I actually forgot if anyone's interested and want me to go up, I'll go down the local plant down here. There's two different plants down in here. But the plant that I normally go into, I will ask if I can go up there and do a video on how they do it. If anyone's interested in me going out to do that. They're pretty much a cool bunch of dudes. I just got to give them a couple of bottles of drink. Yeah, it's not a bad looking card. I like how the Brunswick green makes it pop. You know, you got an American car with a British colour on it. It just makes it go bang.
That
Shame
was
that he missed the crook.
Mopar mint green. That's
But we had. Now, was that a vinyl top or was that a hard top?
That was a vinyl covered hardtop.
Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about.
John, I bet you this car was faster than your Dodge Coronet.
I don't know. My dad's old Falcon would have given it a run for the money, and it was only a 6-cylinder.
This thing was an 8-cylinder and would eat you and your car for lunch.
You haven't watched all the Bang Max series, have you?
Well, remember, they downplayed the horsepower on the 420. So.
Well, they did. Yeah. But I'll tell you what, I'd love to get my hands, if I had a decent place to do one, I would love to get. The Mustangs are leading Bathurst at the moment. There you go. The Fords still got it. Sorry, I've been a Ford man, so I was brought up with Ford, so I still am Ford.
You and my dad will get along good, Artie. He's a Ford man too.
But I'm more of an Australian Ford. I'm not into the American Ford because those Fords over there have been crap, except for the old 72, 74 LTD Fords. But anything after that, they're basically all they're good for is boat anchors. The Australian models, the Falcon models, they were the better models. They outlasted a lot of stuff. I mean, they used them. They were the best cars they were able to use in the Mad Max movie series. And look at them. But to get one at the moment is very, very hard. There's still some about. Off the rails will probably know when we had the Ford, I think they were XBs. XBs or XCs, Falcons. There was Alan Moffat and his co-partner. I can't remember. And it was back in 75, I think it was. Two of the Falcons and 4 Falcons side by side, the cars 1 and 2. Of course, number 1 had to go XAB coupes. That's it. Yeah. They were the best model cars, I think. And the XBs as well. They're similar to what they had, those 2-door coupes in the Mad Max movies in the first series. Yeah, they're very cool cars. The Interceptor, well, there is 2 on that actually being redone 187.
Only if you spiked our cars before the race, Curly. Your 65 Ford Fairlane couldn't touch a Mopar, and you know it.
Well, if they hadn't Dwight, if the 65 had the Australian engine in it, it'll give it a run for its money. I can tell you that now. Yeah, and the Galaxy, the old Ford Galaxies, they weren't too bad. Yeah, so okay, Martine, we'll get going. I'm going to get going shortly too because I do want to watch this race. 4GT Triple Crown. Oh, now we're talking. Now we're talking. They're the good cars. And they were the Australian built ones, not the American ones, not the European ones. So I'll work on that. I'll work on an estimate for that trip that I was talking about earlier in the show. In the next week or two, see what I can achieve on that. So it gives some of you people a bit of time to save up and whatnot for when I start releasing. If it's going to go ahead, we'll release what it's going to cost and everything else. It's going to take a bit of planning and doing and organising. I think it will be a good, nice event. It'll be pretty good. Yes, it was big train, but we're also going to be doing a bit of off-site scene or within the areas and whatnot in this area. So I think it's going to be a good little outing to get people out and about again. The Toyota trucks. Oh, you mean you guys referring to pickup trucks? We just call them utes here. Jeez. Well, you're just gonna have to ask the Japanese and the whatnot. You're just gonna have to ask Japan to send them over to you. But then again, I don't think. Yeah, your cars are a little bit different too. Just going through. Yeah, they are pretty good, but they made the last here, and they do test them as you said earlier on. A lot of manufacturers, particularly Toyota, they do test their cars in the outback and the Australian conditions to see how long they will last. And they're like the old, what do you call it? Like the old Volkswagen Beetles. They will just run and run and run. Like arguing with the wife. I don't have to argue with the wife. I just have to argue with the rabbit that's out in the other room.
The only issue I have with the Toyotas, at least with their vans anyway, with the old vans we had at Rail for the 17 and 2020 models, the bodywork was pretty flimsy on them, especially the front bumpers. You could hit just any little thing and cause it to drag and knock the front bumpers off of them. That was really my only issue. And mechanically, they were great, but they didn't put a lot of thought into their front ends, the front end sheet metal.
Yeah. I know they had a bad batch there for a lot of years with the metal, which I found out later. I think International Harvesters that make the Ivecos, they had the same problem where a shipment of steel ended up got damped with salt air, and it actually, the bodies and that used to rust out real quick. They did have recall and whatnot. They had a lifetime. They had a certain warranty on those particular models for replacement, but yeah, that's now obsolete. But they did actually make good motors. Dad ended up having a van, the Tarago van RV, and he'd done close to 800,000 kilometers in that Tarago van. Actually, no, I think it's done more. I think it's actually clocked it. Well, he clocked the speedo. I can't remember what the speedometer count was on it, but it actually clocked it. And it was still running fine. And he was talking about updating the car, and I said, look, the car's good. You've got no rust in it. Let's drop the motor out. All it needs is new rings in it. and a rebuild. New rings and piston, that's all it really needed inside it, and then you got a good car still. But
Well,
since I was out of the loop, my brother forced him into buying this new fancy dang electronic crap. You know, and we're not going to go down there. So anyway, guys,
yeah,
I ain't going to quits. Yeah,
right.
going around before
I
I
was just
sign
going to
off.
say that the new vans we have, the bodies are actually better on, but because of the hybrid system, they have our vans have cameras inside of them, where if we hit something or speed or anything, they can take a picture of us and send it to the head of rail crew. What it's doing, though, we think, we're not totally sure this is what's causing it, but if we leave the van sit for a day or two, it causes the battery to go dead in them, and then you have to run down there and jump them off. Like I said, we're not 100% certain that's what's causing it, but we have a pretty good idea that is the issue. But, that's really my only beef with the new vans we have, is that they're prone to go dead if you leave them sit for a day or two.
So, in other words, you can't hit those trespassers and pedestrians anymore on the road.
No, you don't hit anybody, and that would pretty much put your job security in severe danger. So,
Yeah.
and
Well,
you don't want to go like 80. You can't go over 80 miles an hour; it'll set the camera off.
oh,
Yep. If you hit 80 miles an hour faster, it'll set the camera off.
bugging.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now, I have not done that myself. There have been in the past that have done it, so that's so.
Okay. I am going, as I said, I'm going to call it quits for now.
Okay.
There's a couple of things I do want to get done. Well, the wind hasn't died down outside, so I do want to get a few things done inside. I
don't see anything over there.
Yeah, you don't have the window there. You just see a brick
I
wall.
have a window right there. You keep looking at it. I keep looking at it. I don't see it.
Okay. Oh. GPS trackers, yeah. I used to get threatened with them from my boss. There we go, 3 Mustangs leading. I've got to go and watch the car race. GPS tracker, the boss's son, and the boss says, we'll just watch the GPS trackers where you've been. I go, it's all right. You can see where I've been. I don't care. So, if you don't do nothing wrong, you've got nothing to worry about. Isn't that right? So anyway, I'm going to sign off. Everyone enjoy your weekend, because you guys, poor Americans, still got the weekend there. We're coming out of it. Enjoy
fitness, guys.
Yeah, we're having the whole family over again tomorrow. My son and his fiance are coming up.
Oh,
there you
good.
go.
Sounds like fun. Thanks, Dwight. I'll try to get a bit better. I know I chatted a bit too much and jibber-jabber on all sorts of crap today. I'm hoping to get some work done this week on the layout, and I'll finish that painting off. But just trying to get the mojo, just trying to get the motivation to do things. I mean, you do get times where you just go, bleh, don't feel like it. But anyway, I've got to get myself into it and start finishing all this off. So anyway, people, it's been great having you. I enjoy having
Take
you
care,
guys.
guys.
Anthony, again, thank you for your help. Everybody on the channel.
I'm glad to be here, Artie. We all know you need help.
Yeah, it is. Unfortunately, they haven't found a solution to my help yet. So, yeah. Well, I'll see you guys. I'll try to see you guys and the other people's channels during a week. I do have a full week again with doctor's appointments and medical appointments and all that. Things are going on the way out, so that's a good thing. I do have an appointment regarding my thumb. It's not the best, but we're going to have to deal with that on Tuesday. See where we're going on from that. So,
and just remember, people, if you enjoyed this show half as much as Artie enjoyed making it, we enjoyed it twice as much as you.
Yeah. We did? Oh, we did.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, Steelmill, take care.
Take care, everybody.
And
See you guys.
We'll chat to you soon. Now just hang in there for a minute. Anthony. All right. We'll talk to you guys later. Bye for now.
See you guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.